afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the REI National REIA update. Today, July the 16th. Welcome, everyone. We have some special guests today, and of course, two of our favorite people from one of our favorite sponsors, Home Depot. Brian and Randall is here as well. Glad to see you guys as always. And with that, I will turn it over to our executive director, Rebecca McLean.
Thank you so much for being with us today. A little bit out of the ordinary for us. We were just talking about we're on location. We're finally back out in the field and visiting with some of our groups. So we are actually just coming off a great meeting last night. So shout out to Great Lakes REIA for having us come out and talk to them. So we're presenting from Cleveland today, but we're glad that you all are with us. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. We're very excited about this presentation because although we update our leadership a little earlier in the year, this is going to be our first chance to update you, our members, on some of the really amazing things that Home Depot has added. Their online experience has just continued to get better and better. So we're going to get to take a look at that and preview it today. So kind of an exciting first half of the meeting, but then at the second half of the meeting, we're going to do even better and add to that to talk about in this environment, how do I use the Home Depot tools along with some other technology to work through the challenges of, kind of delays in possibly inventory, and how do I make sure that I've gotten myself together and gotten my list together and have all of the things that I need as I start my project. So we have Jake and Juan with us on from FlipFactory App that will be working with us to talk about that today. So I want to thank all of our presenters, very special people, so excited to have them with us. We just want to say really quickly that we may talk about a couple financial things today, but in no way are we giving any kind of financial advice, legal advice, or any other advice that should be given out by a professional. We're just going to give you some information today. If you have those needs coming out of this or questions coming out of this, make sure that you see someone locally to get those questions answered. We've been around for over 35 years. We're here to promote, protect, and educate for the industry. We've got over 120 local chapters, and you can find out about all of our great benefits by going to those. We want to thank you for being here, and we want to thank our special sponsors at the Home Depot Pro. They're going to talk about all of the great programs that they have inside our relationship that are special to you as a member. If you are a member and you need COVID-19 information, you can come to our, well, even a non-member, come to our website, click the COVID-19 section. But if you want more information about joining or about these great programs and connecting with a local REIA group to get these great benefits, you just need to click that Find a Local REIA when you get to the website, and it's simply nationalrea.org. So at that, I am going to stop my screen share and stop talking and get to the really important stuff and the fun and exciting people. So Randall, I'm going to hand it off to you and Brian, and I'll let you decide who wants to begin first. But tell us about all the great things that we can look forward to with this Home Depot program.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Hi, everybody. My name is Randall Ray. I've been with Home Depot for going on 3 years now. Time really does fly. I'm on the Pro Customer Experience team, and I'm specifically dedicated to supporting you guys, our national account partners, and we are just so excited to be here. We value our partnership with you so much. So I'm going to jump right in and just give you a quick overview of all of the great tools that are really on our Pro website specifically to help you better manage your business, make life hopefully a little bit easier for you. And I know when you're first logging in, or you're logging in for the 100th time, there's a lot of stuff on there. So hopefully I can help you figure it out a little bit. So all of our Pro loyalty members have this enhanced online experience just for you guys. It's both on our desktop, homedepot.com, and our mobile app as well. So we're combining the benefits of Pro Extra with these enhanced tools, like I said, to make your life easier, whether you're planning purchases, managing your business, or even with accounting features. So first and foremost, we have exclusive preferred pricing. You don't have to worry about having a code. You don't have to worry about, anything, a coupon tracking, keeping track. Nope. We are tracking your purchases, and based on the products you buy most, you're automatically getting the absolute best purchase with no minimum purchase required. You don't have to make quotes, anything like that. We also have the ability to add and manage users. So you can have other people on your account as admins. You can have other people on your account just as purchasers. You can set permissions for them as well. You can create product lists for those frequently purchased items. You know, maybe you have 3 different tiers of bathrooms that you're remodeling and, you know, different price points. You can kind of make those lists suited specifically for your business. And let's not forget about subscriptions. I preach about subscriptions all the time because think about those things that you're always buying that you never want to run out of. You can automatically save 5% on any item that you create a subscription for. We have very easy buy it again functionality and quick add tools. You can also save a quote, which will lock in that price for 7 days. And we make it pretty simple to share that quote with somebody else on your team by email or exporting it to them. You can also predefine PO and job names to track, you know, different properties that you're working on. And then you can export your purchase history to QuickBooks, which is if you're using QuickBooks for accounting, it's a really, really great tool. And again, hopefully makes life a little bit easier for you. So like I said, this is all available for you on HomeDepot.com and the Home Depot mobile app. And I'm just going to switch my screen quickly. Oh, okay, I'm going to try to over to the website itself. Can everybody see that? Perfect. Okay, good. Because I know it's a lot to cover and I know it's a lot of information. So what I love pointing out, this is the page it takes you right when you log in to your account. And I love pointing out the Resource Center because it really has great tools for helping you getting started and managing your business. And most importantly, these step-by-step tutorials. So all of these features that I have so quickly glossed over, you can click in here to step-by-step and it will really walk you through everything. But last but certainly not least, in the upper left-hand corner, we have a pro support line specifically dedicated for you. So whatever you need support with, call that number in the upper right-hand corner and they are there to help you. So I know that was a mouthful. I don't know if we have time for questions and answers, but with that, I will turn it over to Brian.
Thank you, Randall, and members of National REIA and National REIA chapter leaders. Thank you for the opportunity to connect with you this month. And we hope you are all well. As Rebecca mentioned, we had a great time yesterday at the Great Lakes REIA. It was refreshing to see new and existing investors meeting in person at the Cleveland events. And so really exciting time. We had the pleasure of meeting a lot of customers, and we hope that your chapter meetings are starting to pick up there. And if there's anything we can help you with, please reach out to me or Karen, the director of National REIA as well. But what I wanted to just give a quick update on is the overall Pro Extra program. So we are entering into the second half of the year, which means that there is a new rebate period that's happening. So if you're a current member of a local chapter, great. You should be currently registered with the proper agreement code, and you should have all your payment methods, your credit cards, debit cards registered within Pro Extra. But if you haven't, please work with your chapter leader. And if you're not a member, some of the benefits that we offer members of National REIA in the local associations is a 2% biannual rebate for all purchases made once you achieve 5,000 or more per half. So that is one of the exciting benefits that you do receive. So I encourage you to become a member. That essentially covers that membership at the local level. The rebate cycle is from June 30th to December 31st. So we are entering a new rebate cycle. So as Randall covered Pro Extra, we encourage you to sign up for Pro Extra and take advantage of that tool that really makes your life easier when doing business with our local stores or local pro desks. And we believe makes you more productive on your journey of real estate investing. When you become a member of a local chapter, they will give you an enrollment guide. And that enrollment guide walks you through that registration process. So another exciting way that you can take advantage of some of the program benefits we offer. Another awesome benefit is as a National REIA member, you receive 20% off in paint, liquids, and stains. And we automatically move you up the tier to this savings program that historically would actually, you would need to spend about $8,000 to get to that point. So this is a big deal. And we greatly appreciate the opportunity to earn your paint business as well. Members of National REIA also take advantage of an appliance program where you actually can work with our contact center and send in a list of appliances you need to be able to have our team manage the process from start to finish. So that's an exciting program as well. We also have a cabinet program where by working with National REIA directly, you receive up to 10% off on in-stock cabinets. And another great way to save in some of these large capital expenditure items, whether it's an existing property you own or it's a home you're looking to purchase, fix, renovate, rent, or refinance, et cetera. So there's so many more benefits. We didn't have a chance to probably touch on Pro Perks, but I encourage you to sign up for Pro Extra. The Pro Perks benefit allows you to spend and unlock different benefits, whether it's actual gift card savings. So if you spend $2,500, you receive $25. You spend $5,000, you receive, I believe it's $50, and so on. And then you also can use that credit as a tool rental option. So if you have a member that is a member of your local chapter, or if you're a member becoming a member of a local chapter, consider the Home Depot for tool rental. We have tool rentals in almost all of our stores in the country. And there's definitely many occasions where we find our pro customers need for specific tools that just may not be worth buying. So another awesome benefit that you receive with Pro Extra is the access to our bid room. So that just means that if you're a member, you can take a full scoped out material project and with Pro Extra, submit it to our bid room by working with our local pro desks, our store associates, and receive even deeper discounts. So there is a lot to take advantage of for those existing members, for those members that are interested in becoming a member of a local chapter or a partner of ours with National REIA. And we at the Home Depot really pride ourselves in living our value of building strong partnerships. So if there's any way that me, or the team can support, or Randall, we're here to support you. And really at a higher level, that's all I've got, Rebecca, from the Home Depot end, and Ryan. And we appreciate the time to say hello to everyone.
Guys, thanks so much for being here. Go ahead.
And just to put my 2 cents on Brian saying that's all I got, that's a lot. That's a whole lot. We appreciate it.
So they have been over time adding more and more things to the pro experience. And with our special relationship, being able to access those things can be an invaluable part of your membership. So you're paying for your membership with the benefit that you get on the dollar side, but then you're enhancing that membership because of all of the tools that you're going to be able to use. And if you have any questions, I invite you to put them in the chat bar. They'll stick around for just a few minutes to cover those. But they also have some videos, some special resources on our website that's available. We've got the walkthroughs that are available that have been videoed for us. So certainly use those if you need a little refresher, because Randall had all of those benefits that she talked about. So if you need to kind of to slow that down and look at them one by one, you'll be able to do that. This will also be on a replay, so you can go back through that. But guys, thank you so much for being here. We value the partnership. We really appreciate what you do for us. And thanks so much for being here. I'm going to move now to the FlipFactory app, guys. And I love that Brian closed on VPP because he made this intro so much easier. We were super excited to talk to these guys, bring them on, and look at what they have. what they're going to talk about in terms of being able to walk through and plan the project is only a tiny, tiny piece of what their app does. So I'm going to let them kind of give you a quick overview of that. But then when they're going to delve into how to mitigate some of the challenges that we're having inside the industry right now that are that kind of the COVID hangover. Like some of the things that have been created with supply chain issues have really affected both cost and availability of some things. And they've got some great ideas in how to use their software, pair it with VPP, and just some out of the box ideas on how you can protect yourself and enhance what you've got, and the opportunities to overcome some challenges can be. So guys, take it away.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rebecca.
I'm going to deviate a little bit from standard vendor protocol, and I'm going to talk to you very openly and honestly as a flipper myself, and talk to you about what's really going on with the industry. And we now have an opportunity, not only as a provider of a platform that's flipping houses all across the nation, we're getting to see inside actual people's platforms and see how they're working. And we're seeing a lot of the same hangups. And I wanted to have the opportunity to kind of give you some real life feedback as to what's going on in this market. So the feedback from the field is that long lead times are stalling out projects. We are having increased holding times. We're having increased costs. Carrying costs are going up. Speed to market is going down. And as a flipper, that's crippling, right? You're spending your profit. You're losing your margin. You're making things work. You're making things work harder than they should. So it's never been a more important time to double down on the idea of planning, preparation, and forward thinking, right? So the opportunity is that really getting into it. And I kind of like to open up and I say that, you know, everybody, we all have one of two pains that we need to walk through and move through in order to be successful in real estate. We either have the pain of preparation and planning, or we have the pain of loss and regret. And I think that given COVID, the preparation and planning is far more attractive to do on the front end of the project and to get done. So I really do like, and Rebecca said it perfectly, I love the fact that the Home Depot guys were talking about the pro room. I was going to bring it up, but in order to go to the pro room and the pro desk, you need to know what you need. And a lot of the times that's not as easy as it's been in the past, because right now I know a lot of us that are flipping on the ground are sitting there and going, I have a truck for this very reason. I jump in my truck, I go down the store, I pick up what I need, and I come back, right? Let me tell you this, you are wasting your time, you are losing money, and you are spending profit. There needs to be more prep and planning, and that's never been more obvious than right now, given the delays that are happening. So let me tell you what's going on. The items that are being delayed from an actual standpoint, when you're dealing with field opportunities and field product right now, you got to think manufacturing, right? If you think manufacturing, those are the items that are really being delayed in our supply lines. So I was on the phone and I talked to supply houses that are product suppliers of ours, and she was telling me she's never seen items with this long of a lead time. So you really need to be on your ball, on your game, and on ahead of it. Well, the first thing that I said is I was like, wow, okay, so what items are specifically being delayed? And she goes, everything that's in manufacturing that has to do with resins, epoxies, glues, laminates, that kind of stuff. And I said, so what are we talking about? And she said, well, you know, the LVL product that we use, you know, the items that are structural timbers that are above the actual door frames and headers and trusses. And when you're taking out a load bearing wall and you need to put in an LVL, those items are significantly delayed from where they used to be. So if you're planning on using those, now remember, those can be field cut, okay? So it's far better for you to order those ahead of time, have them be delivered to your supply house, and you can cut them in the field. And she also brought up the idea of trusses and engineered items. These things are being way farther out delayed by almost double from what they used to be. So I was advising a client that's on the platform, and he said, okay, Jake, I'm looking at the new construction template. It tells me I need to do this, this, and this. And I said, actually, we need to modify that for COVID, and we need to back up, and we need to order your trusses, your LVLs, and your windows right now. He goes, wait a second, I haven't even broken ground yet. I said, you need to order them now. You're doing a new con. Let's go ahead and get these things ordered, right? So with ordering product and having it available to keep speed going, we started running into a lot of people that started adding items to our list. So we provide a template, as you know, anyone who's seen our demo, we provide a template of what we recommend everyone does. We've noticed that a lot of items have been added to the original phases. People are adding site storage to their job sites. And I started looking into this and I said, this is a trend. We're going to pay attention to this, right? So this is a trend. So when I started looking at site storage, I realized that these guys were getting 20-foot storage containers delivered to their job sites and paying less than $50 a month to the site storage companies so that they could have the items that are needed on the site, and they can have an active, working, safe, lockable storage facility so they could bring items out to the job site. Because remember, I don't know about you guys, but 2x4s seem to be laced with gold these days, and they're disappearing from my job sites. So you need to try to lock up everything that you can and keep it safe with everything you can. So the advice was, if you're going to start to order items, and we do recommend that you do order items ahead of time so that they're there and available for your subcontractors, look at having a reliable, dependable storage solution, such as a 20-foot storage container. Drive around, look around. They are not as expensive as you think. Call the companies. You can get them for $50 to $75 a month. And that peace of mind, knowing that the items are on site, is a big relief. The other items that we're finding people are ordering storage containers for specifically are the owner furnished items that are coming in after construction. So we're talking faucets, we're talking light fixtures, we're talking appliances, right? If you can find those appliances, you lock them up and you drive them over to the job site and you set those big locks and nobody's getting into your appliances. They don't have to clutter your garage. They don't have to take up a warehouse. You can put them on the job site. So if speed is the name of the game when it comes to flipping, our advice is to go ahead and focus on prep and planning as opposed to loss and regret. And here's another idea. I mean, there's all kinds of different things that we could recommend. Even a painter of mine and I were having a conversation saying he's having a difficult time finding paint. He's buying paint in larger quantity and tinting it later, taking it back to the Home Depot and tinting it later, but making sure that he has access to it. Now, the one thing I'll say about paint is make sure it doesn't freeze, because then it can get ruined if you're dealing with latex. But be aware that there's creative solutions that you can do to this, where you can add value and make sure that your project stays on task, because speed is the name of the game here, and we need to get it done. Back to the Home Depot Pro Room, I wanted to take a quick second, and I'm going to try to share my screen. This is a resource that I wanted to make sure that everyone knew, was aware. So if you go to our FlipFactory App website, there's a little button here called Guide. And that Guide button takes you to a secondary website that the FlipFactory App, myself and Juan, we are at 24 years of experience in the construction business. We built a separate website to drop all the information and knowledge that we've gained over the time. So we've literally given the how to flip a house in phase order process. And in addition, when we broke it down by phase, if you start off in prep and pre-construction and you scroll to the bottom and you go to bill of materials, we now have a bill of materials, which is a comprehensive Excel spreadsheet. And what we've said here is, pretend you're building this house in the Bahamas. This is what you have to think of when you're building out your bill of materials. Imagine that everything is going down to the Caribbean islands and you need to pack it in a 40-foot sea container. This is what you need to have it ready in order to be installed. Believe me, it took everything you get when you run to the local store and put in the list, and this is what it would look like. Steps to follow: capture your bill of material, write down everything you need for your project. Number two, find a better source, right? Go to the pro desk, find a cheaper, order ahead, save time, save stress. Use your ability to plan and prep to get better prices and protect your profits. When you download this Excel spreadsheet, it gives you all of these items that are broken down by phases. And remember, you have the ability to add your notes, your specifications, your manufacturer, your source, and more specifically, you're talking about who's the actual responsible party, who's specifying it, who's buying it, and who's installing it. So this is a comprehensive bill of material list. Juan and I use this for every property we do. And it's truly extensive, all the way down to the different types of tile, the backer board, the file. Think about it. If you had to build your house or do your project in the Caribbean islands, this is everything you'd have to load into the containers to send to the islands to build your property. That's when we're building a bill of materials. That's what we're thinking about. So this situation goes all the way down to the end, including exteriors. It's 243 line items. I'm not saying you need all of them, but please know that this is what you need to consider when you're prepping out your project. All right. Rebecca, did I do okay? Okay. Do we have any questions?
Jake, I'm putting you on the spot, but do you want to really quickly show what that kind of looks like inside the app?
I'm not set up for that.
Okay.
Do
Do you happen to have a screenshot?
No, not.
Okay,
not
so let me just say this for him. He has been very good about not self-promoting, which I appreciate, except that it's so cool that it deserves to be promoted. So he would be happy to walk through a demo with you if you want to schedule with him. So Jake and Juan, if you want to put some contact information over there, that would be.
The one thing that I will take the opportunity to pitch, right, is this FlipFactory Guide website that Juan and I are continuing to build up. It is absolutely free. It is our selfless give back to the community, because we're born teachers. We love to help people. We talk about this stuff all the time. And I imagine that if your REIAs or anything like the REIAs that we've seen and have been associated with, there's a lot of newbies. And we want to sponsor them and give them this information without taking up all of the experience time. So I would say this is a great resource, and we're continuing to stock this out. Each one of these items has a breakdown. Each one of the breakdowns has additional items. We're adding articles by the day. And now we're even starting to get some professionals to give back and provide additional insights. Like my plumber's writing an article right now saying, what are the questions I need to have answered before I can do my project with a flipper? Great information. That's a great resource. And all of this information that we've said on the guide points right back to the efficiency and effectiveness of our app, because this was built by two investors who want to make a better platform for our industry.
And it is excellent. And so I'll just let you know, if you go into the app, and Jake, you're gonna have to stop me as I'm probably saying the wrong thing about the product. So help me out. But you can go into the app and you can walk through this project and build out your budget, basically what you need. And then that's going to be available for you to prepare to take to the Pro Desk to get that VPP pricing. At the meeting last night, one of the members, I don't know if Zach's in a position where he can speak, so I'll tell his story too, and somebody can stop me if I'm wrong, that was there last night. But he had gotten, up until the last point of the project and realized that he had forgotten doorknobs. Well, he had done VPP, the volume pricing for all of the first parts of his project. But if he think about how much he could have saved, how many doorknobs do you put in a complete rehab? Those could have, had he realized he needed those, put those into his budget, which would have been caught in the FlipFactory process. He could have saved that much additional money and time. Jake and I were talking, he had been through a similar situation and had to drive to 4 stores before the inspection to make sure he had those to get that inspection to go through. Especially if you're using private money and you're on a timeline, think about how much money you lost, how much time you lost, and then how that equated to even more money lost. So between pairing the tools of being prepared, which FlipFactory helps you do, and again, that is only one tiny, tiny piece of what that app does for you. We will be previewing the overall capacity of the app. I think we're looking at September, October for that. But they've got demos. They're happy to walk you through demos. But between pairing that and then all of the benefits that you get from the Home Depot, where others are really kind of struggling with some of these inventory and supply issues, trying to get either the rental turns done or their flips done, you really have some resources that others don't have that help you have that little bit of edge in your business. So you want all of those edges that you can get, and we at National are trying to be here to get those for you. So if you have questions for either the Home Depot team or for Jake and Juan, they're going to stick around for a little bit. You can put it in the chat bar, but we've put the contact information for both of those teams here in the chat. Lori's taking care of that for you. Make sure you reach out to them, have some conversation, and see what they can do and what they have to offer for you. But we're going to move on. Oh, go ahead. Did somebody?
One thing that I was going to add to that is everybody keep in mind that what you'll find in the FlipFactory app, as well as the build of materials list that we've shared with everybody, is something that Jake and I have taken and over the course of the last 2 years try to perfect for every kind of possible scenario that we face. It's not perfect, and some of it's going to have to be edited, but know that it came from trial and error and actually using this on properties that we were. And that's why we feel confident sharing it with you guys and know that it was built by us on the field for you guys and to try to help out everybody out there.
Yeah.
One of the good points about that too is that it is editable, right? So you're giving them this overall comprehensive piece, but then they can edit that to meet their needs.
Absolutely.
Well, and one last following thought was that as the app is being used in the field and we're watching people go through it, the people who are planning ahead are winning. The people who are waiting to the last minute are losing. So if there's one thing we can take away from this is that the planners are winning, and there's not enough supply, and on a speed game like flipping, they need to be planning ahead so that they can have these items ready to go. So that's our major takeaway from what we're experiencing and what we're watching happen on the app in the field.
Well, and flipping is not the only speed game now. As eviction moratorium is being lifted, your rental turns are also going to be a big issue if you're going from one resident to another and trying to prepare for that property for when residents want to leave one property and be in another. So it really is applying to almost every area of investing right now. And the other thing to keep in mind is how important that pro desk can be for you as a resource. They can give you hints and tips. And when you run into a snag, they can say, well, this inventory item may not be available or may take longer, but we've seen some success with people using this. So that may have been your preferred product, but we see this. And if you go to the pro desk and ask the right questions, they really can be a great resource for you. So build those relationships at your local store. I love the app, so I spend much more time on the app than I do in the store. But when I need something, I do show up there, and they have been just terrific in all of the stores that I've worked with to be able to use them as the resource that they are. So as I said, if you've got any other questions, you can put them here in the chat bar. And for the next session, and speaking of eviction moratorium, Charles, can you tell us where we stand, where you think we're going, what's happening in the legislative and industry update world?
This is the last extension. Honest, the last, well, maybe one. Okay. At least that's what we're hearing. The White House has said this is the final extension. The reason they're saying that is because it's literally before the Supreme Court, and there are attorneys looking at the balance of power saying, Supreme Court, we'd really rather you not weigh in on this. We know we've overstretched, so we'll only do it till July 31st and we'll stop it there, even though they would really like to go to the end of September, which is what they did with the foreclosure limits. So right now, that's where we're at. It's kind of a situation where there may be still a ruling from the Supreme Court in the next week or two, just to kind of wrap up to make sure that the end of July really is the end of the eviction moratorium. The effort, though, is kind of one where in a balance of powers issue, neither side really wants the other one to weigh in or do anything else. They're trying to let it die at the end of July. Having said that, with the Delta variant out there, increasing conversation on that around the world, not just in the country. Also, this eviction, or the counterpart to the eviction moratorium, is the rental assistance. the rental assistance piece, and we do just posted a new FAQ from Treasury. So folks, when you're in areas where they're not sending the money out, this is really, you can take this document and go back to them and say, this is how the money is supposed to be spent. These are the rules on it. This is the Q&A or the FAQ for it. You really want to focus on that. Having said that, states do have some latitude because these are block grants coming out to change how they want to use it. Now, not being too jaded, but let me suggest something to you and give you some insight into something. The $25 billion that came out in the December 2020 tranche of funds for rental assistance is very specifically set for funding for rental assistance for people who were impacted by COVID. The second tranche of money, $21.5 billion that came out in March of 2021, was actually targeted towards more low income, with this little caveat that, one, they don't have to be impacted necessarily by COVID, they can just be impacted. So they've got some sort of eviction need or rental assistance need. But there's also some fine print behind the scenes. Any local government or state that has received these funds in the second tranche and doesn't spend them can use them for other options, anything related to housing. So, of course, anybody who knows, and what we're seeing right now is about 20% of the funds from the initial tranche are actually out. That's it. We're 5-6 months into this thing, and only 20% of the money is out there, which means most likely they're not going to get all the way. In fact, by September 15th, if the money is not out, at least 65% of the first tranche, they're going to start recouping that money. They, being the feds, will start saying, we're going to take that money back. The second tranche of funds stays with the municipalities and states, whether they spend it on rental assistance or something, quote unquote, similar to rental assistance in some way of helping housing. So I would not count on the second tranche of money being there for rental assistance. Make sure you're getting in, especially in that first bar, that first tranche of money. Again, only 20% of it's been spent. A lot of areas are just having real difficulty and just keep stepping on their own feet, sometimes purposefully, it seems like, but that's what's out there. I do want to touch on a couple other things that are going on. In general, the infrastructure bills and the overall budget process is taking up most of the time in Congress, both the House and the Senate. But there have been a couple of little things that we're seeing coming out. And if you remember back to the end of last year, we talked about the Senate was working on some eviction bills. There's a bipartisan bill that's come forward. It is Senate Bill 2182. That bill is moving forward. By moving forward, I mean it's actually public now. Where it goes is hard to tell, and part of it may gather some legs, gather some steam after the eviction moratorium goes away and kind of rental assistance calms down a little bit. Until then, I would expect it to be kind of just sit in the background, in part because the budget, the infrastructure bills, which have ranged anywhere from 800 billion to 1.2 trillion to 3.5 trillion to 4.5 trillion to a whopping 6 trillion, which was literally, they said, we just floated the 6 trillion number so that the 4.5 wouldn't seem so much. That's the world we're in right now. So just hang on, folks. Those pieces there, those pieces of legislation are going to take most of the effort and most of the political capital. But things like this, Senate Bill 2182 could gather some steam. We've worked on taking off some of the roughest edges on it. I'll get into this more in the future, but right now we're not seeing it move yet, so we don't really want to spend a whole lot of time on it. My expectation is as we get a little farther down the road and have some conversations, we'll be doing probably a voter voice effort on asking people to make these tweaks or that tweak on it. So I'll leave that for now. The final one I want to mention is something that may have kind of hit your radar and gone past, and that is a consumer protection issue that was brought up. Everybody gets nervous when we start talking consumer protection. It was interesting that the administration came out with a new 72 point, they're calling whole use of government consumer protection approach. Part of what they brought forward was actually a number of bipartisan issues and things that Republicans had worked on, things that Democrats had worked on, things that they'd worked on together in one large bill. And it's really one executive order that may end up resulting in some bills coming out of it, but they're doing it from an executive order perspective. And this is one that I think just watch, because this is going to be one that I'm not even sure how the rules and regulations are going to fall out from this, but it'll be in play for the next year to 2 years. And the reason I'm bringing it up, maybe it's because I was at Mount Rushmore and saw Teddy Roosevelt, on a little vacation, took a nice time, but this really is in the spirit of Teddy Roosevelt of trying to break up some of the larger monopolies. For us as smaller owners, small businesses, that is a good thing. And that's my praise for we're 7 months in. So that's my praise for the new administration coming on it. This is a thing that we'll be watching, but the thing we'll actually have to act on most likely will be Senate Bill 2182. That will be the new eviction bill coming out, and it's been modified. Most of it's going to be talking about alternatives to eviction, working with mediation groups and those kind of things. But folks, hang on. Right now, let's get through the eviction moratorium, get the rental assistance, make sure you're applying for it. And please understand, just because the feds come out with their standards and here's what their FAQs are, the states can still mess it up and the local municipalities can mess it up. And we've seen that over and over again. So hang on and hold on as we get through this.
Thank you, Charles. And just really quickly, before I pass it back to our president to sign us off, I want to remind everybody about our session in June that was with Bob Zachmeyer about, is it time to take some chips off the table? We came forward with the Home Depot update today because we wanted to make sure that you understood what support you had if you're having some challenges with what I'm going to call conventional investment strategies. So fix and flip, rental, and if you're doing turns. So we wanted to give you those resources. But going forward, in the spirit of some of the things that Bob had said, is it time to diversify some strategies? I'm not telling you to even consider necessarily giving up your current strategy, but do you want to supplement that with something different and interesting? So we next month embark on our alternate investing or unconventional investing strategy series. So over the next 6 months, we're going to be talking about different kinds of niches that you may or may not have heard of. The first two are going to be pretty standard. We're going to talk about notes, and then we'll talk about short-term rentals. But then maybe we're going to talk about some things that haven't been talked about as much, things like build to rent, things like condo conversions going back the other way, how to maybe take a house that you have and break it into small office spaces that can be rented. Those kinds of things that can get a little bit out of the box and relook at some of the things. If you want to get a little bit more hands-off, I know Equity has some strategies out there like buying Bitcoin. I don't know if that's a big thing for you, but we're going to at least give you a small insight into what that may look like. So over the next 6 months, we hope that you continue to join us. Take a look at some speakers maybe you haven't heard from before, industry specialists and things like self-storage from the actual attorney that works with the Self-Storage Association. How is that different than working with regular rental properties? So keep an eye out for the emails from Lori where we tell you what's coming up, what the topic is. And certainly if you miss it, it's going to be available on that on demand that we have. We really appreciate your hanging with us over this time and strive to be of value to you. If you give us input, we will do our best to try to see how that can work into the structure. And if it will work for your fellow investors, we'll try to jump on that. Charles, you had
one real quick thing as a follow-up. David had posted about having problems with a local area. And I do want to mention this. This is going to sound counterintuitive. If you're having problems with the funds rolling out at the local level, make sure you reach out to the local congressional office. So your federal representative, a lot of times the House side can be more responsive than the Senate, just because the Senate has a whole state versus the congressional representative has a smaller area. They can be more responsive and they will typically know who's actually handling it at the local level and may be able to fast track something for you. The state folks like your state representative and your state senator may know, but the congressional folks are plugged in because this is federal money.
All right. Well, I guess that's everything. So thank you guys today. We want to thank the Home Depot and having Brian and Randall go over all the new programs and everything that we have with Home Depot, what our favorite national sponsor. Thanks also to Jake and Juan of FlipFactory. Appreciate you guys rolling that out today, and love the synergy between that application and our Home Depot as well, going hand in hand. As always, we appreciate our man on the street with the information as far as what's going on in Washington, D.C., Charles Tassell. And it's apropos because I'm actually sitting in Washington, D.C. right now. So if you need me to go talk to anybody, just let me know. And thank you also, Rebecca, as well. Thank all of you guys for joining, all of our REIA leaders. We really appreciate you guys all over the country taking the time out today as well. We'll see you guys back here August the 18th. And be looking out on the National REIA website for any updates in between that time. So in the meantime, stay safe and happy investing.